The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV. Hot topics, food, fun, entertainment, and serious business. Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.
Show Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. Okay, we're going to have three different topics today. One of them is, I think I want to call this redemption.
I love it.
Just an amazing story, human interest story here in Southern Nevada, a family that just became huge stars, ran into some trouble, everything was cleared up, and so I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to have Dion Derico here as my guest, my first guest here on this show. Later on, we're also going to be talking about something that affects all families, everybody, singles, everyone. We're going to talk about cybersecurity with Matt Jackson Jr. He's a cybersecurity expert here in town, and some of the very simple ways that we are putting ourselves in danger every single day, and things we can do to protect our information as much as humanly possible, because let's face it, guys, if somebody wants to hack you, they're going to do it. So, but what are the steps that you can take to make yourself safer? And then another favorite guest of mine who is blowing up on the national spotlight, Marcia Bergenfeld. She is a designer here in town, and her work is now being featured and just kind of blinged out on celebrities at the so I'm not going to tell you who, but there are ladies who are wearing her work, and she is a Las Vegas local, and she's doing great things. So we're really going to love today's show. But we're going to get started with Dion and the story of his family. Now, this is his youngest. This is your youngest.
Baby.
This is
Correct.
Dior, the baby. But you now have how many kids?
11.
11 children. How you came to Las Vegas's attention was when you and your wife had quintuplets.
Correct.
Now, this was back in 2013, and it just went viral all across the country. This
Yes.
was just a big deal. And when I met you guys, I think the thing that really impressed me most was not just how the community supported you, but your kids were all well dressed and your house was spotless, and I was jealous because I only have 2 dogs and my house wasn't that spotless. Like, how are they pulling it off with all these kids? You had that group in the Divine Nine.
Absolutely.
Because you already had some kids, and then you had the quintuplets, and then you
Yeah.
ran into some things. But let's just get started. Bring everybody up to date. If you're not familiar with your family story, how did this all get started? Because you and Yvonne got together, you already had some kids, and
Yes.
then you had the quints.
Right. Well, I'd first like to say thank you, Rikki, for having us on your show.
You're welcome, yeah.
And I would like to also thank my wife, of course, the support from my wife, our children, my mother, my nephew Juan, my nephew Eric, and a host of other people.
The tribe, right,
Yes, the
right.
tribe. Erica
Yeah.
Lloyd, she was my first attorney. I'd like to give a special thanks to those individuals. But what first happened was, of course, we had the quintuplets.
Right.
In September of 2013,
Right.
and made national news.
Yes.
And it was beautiful. Every parent wants that opportunity to have their children sort of front and center.
Sure.
Like the royal family, so to
Sure.
speak. And so that's how it started off.
And you had churches coming forward, and people were giving you donations.
Correct.
National stars like Tavis Smiley, those types of folks were really buying into it, because the thing that impressed me, and I say there are 2 types of parents. There are parents who just have kids.
Yes.
And then there are parents who are raising children.
Absolutely.
Who are really directly involved. And I could see that in your family.
Thank you.
I would go over there, and the babies weren't crying, and everybody was well behaved. It was like, oh, this is amazing. There are people who have 1 child and they're not pulling this off. Yeah.
Absolutely. We get that all the time. Both my wife and I, we really wanted a large family. We've always wanted a large family. We did not anticipate it being overnight. we didn't anticipate a
5
traffic jam.
down, right. Yeah.
We didn't anticipate a traffic jam, but we did anticipate it being, over time, period of time.
And this wasn't a fertility thing with you guys.
It was natural conception.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was natural conception. So that's what, of course, made it very huge. And as you know, within the African American community, it's not as common for us to have that many children at one time.
Right.
My mother miscarried triplets right before me, and then twins are on both sides of our families.
Yeah, twins are more common. Twins are in my family.
Yes,
too.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. Yeah, so it's very it's a little different for us. You know, thank God we were in a position financially where we could afford a large family. We were under the impression we were pregnant with our 5th baby.
Just one.
Just one. Our 5th child of the 4 that we already had.
Right.
This was our 5th is in our minds. And as you know, we had 5.
Now, take us back to that moment. So you're anticipating just one more child.
Yes.
What was it when the doctor said, you got more than one?
Well, so they first said that we had 4 quadruplets. We went back and they said that more than likely we would lose some, if not all.
Right.
And they even talked to us about doing selective reduction, which we're totally against abortion.
Right.
We totally support anyone else that want to do that for their lives, but for us, we were totally against it. So we had our talk with God and my wife and I and the rest of the family, and we said, no, we're not doing a selective reduction. So he said, okay, be prepared for your wife to start losing some. And so 2 days later, we went back. And because she was spotting, and we just assumed we had lost one, and come to find out that we had a 5th one. So the four were doing good, and we had a 5th one. So we were just, everyone we were calling, we're taking it back. They didn't believe the 4.
Right.
So just imagine 2 days later, you hear that there's one more. They're like, come on now, come on now. Yeah. So it was that.
You have a sports team at this point, right?
Right. So of course, my question to the doctor at the time was, what happens if all of the babies are healthy? And he said that they would go in and get the first baby they come to, they would do the selective reduction. And I just, the thought of that was totally unimaginable. Yeah, we wasn't doing that. So we had our prayer to God, I talked to God, and based off that, God gave me my answer. We had nothing to do with it. We would have nothing to do with getting rid of it. And so that was our decision.
Yeah.
My wife had a very healthy pregnancy, a very
and I remember when I first saw her, saw the pictures, because you'd already had the babies when I met you guys. The pictures were like, I used to call it the pimple pregnancy. I just couldn't conceive that Yvonne had that many babies, because she did not get that big. I've seen women with one baby who were huge. And it's like, you got 5? There's no way.
My wife was literally 3 pounds heavier than she was with our first child, Darian.
Wow.
So she was 147.
Wow.
147, and that was fully clothed, 5 babies, wet, Yeah, she was, it's very small, very small, and she, of course, she still is. She goes right back down to her original weight.
So jealous. Anyway, so now she's had the babies. Everybody's healthy. You come back to Las Vegas, and there's just this outpouring of local and national support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We started receiving support when we were in Arizona. We
That's when you had the babies in Arizona.
Correct. We had the babies in Arizona. Nevada wasn't. How do I want to say this? They didn't have the. It was recommended to us. To go to Arizona because
and that's nice of you to be PC, but for those of us who've grown up here, things are changing in Southern Nevada. Our medical community is much more advanced, but there was a time where if you needed really high-tech, extraordinary measures, people would go out of town.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was recommended for the safety of my wife, of course, and the babies, that we go to Arizona. There was a doctor named Dr. Elliott, who specialized in large, multiple pregnancies, excuse me, multiple births, and so our doctor felt very confident that Dr. Elliott could pull this off, and so that's what we did. So when we started getting national attention, we were in Arizona. We didn't even know we had made the newspapers here, and we were just too busy in our own world there, as you can imagine. So with that being said, we were enjoying life there, and we returned back here about 3 weeks after their birth. They flew us, Aetna, which was our insurance. They flew us back here by way of jet, and that was beautiful. That was just something you can never even imagine. But so everything was great. We had the big sign in Arizona at the airport saying, congratulations to Rico family. Loved having you guys. And then we returned here to Vegas. All the news media was there. It was just beautiful. We couldn't have asked for a better reception, from the public. And shortly after that happened, the national attention, we were pitched by different reality shows, production companies. They were lined up basically. So we were sort of overwhelmed with it, but we were dealing with it and we were enjoying it. And out of nowhere, I got criminal charged. 13 felony counts
and some gross misdemeanor counts as well.
And 3 gross misdemeanor
And
counts.
this all stemmed from allegations that you were taking people's property, taking their home.
Absolutely.
How did that get started?
So there was a complaint that was filed by a young lady I purchased the house from. I specialize in buying houses that was in distress.
Right, which is
That's
very
what-
common here in Southern
Absolutely,
Nevada. Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm a real estate investor. This was my little niche, and I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed saving homes, helping families, because of course I would keep them from getting foreclosures
Right.
and things of that nature. And so everyone won. Well, this particular family apparently had seller's remorse, or I don't know what else it was, but they had abandoned the property prior to me buying the property. They had abandoned the property. They had been gone for some time. I had spoken with them about purchasing the property from them. It didn't happen then. It happened later. It happened in October of 2012.
Okay.
And so in purchased in October 2012.
And
put a
this
lot
is
of
before
money
the
in it.
babies are born. and
This is
everything.
before
This
the
is like
babies
before
were
that,
born.
right?
Correct. We hadn't even conceived, conceived the babies yet. And so, so they came back and asked for more money.
Ah.
And I said no. I was renting the property out while waiting for the short sale.
Right.
And so they asked for more money. I said no. I thought that was the end of it.
Right.
The AG contacted me around, what was it, March of 2013.
So the Attorney General gets back in touch with you. This is almost, what, 2 years almost? A
No.
year after this?
No. It was about, what was it, 5 months? 'Cause
5
it was
months.
it was in October
Right.
of 2012 that
All
I
right.
purchased the home from them, and then it was in March of 2013 that they brought the case, the criminal complaint basically, and so.
And this is after they asked you for more money, and you said, no,
Yes,
this
correct.
deal is already done.
Absolutely, this
Right.
deal is done. This puppy is gone. So so they came back to the Attorney General's office. They asked me a series of questions. I was very compliant. I'd never been in any kind of legal troubles.
You
or
didn't
issues
see
before.
any problems,
Yes, and they
right.
told me that it wasn't about me. That's the biggest thing about this story. They told me that it wasn't about me. I didn't know that there was an investigation. I was a subject of the investigation. I didn't know any of that. And I wind up later winning a case regarding that, but it wound up getting appealed. But nevertheless, so going forward, the case went to grand jury in June of 2013.
Right.
I'm not sure if you know how a grand jury goes,
I did,
but it
right.
almost always sides with the prosecution.
Exactly.
You almost always
Exactly.
lose a grand jury indictment. So it went to grand jury. The grand jury didn't indict. So it was as if the grand jury themselves
Said,
also
"This is
agreed
not a
with
problem," right.
absolutely. I didn't do anything wrong. So that was in June of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
In September of 2013, we have the quintuplets. That's when the national attention comes about. Moving right along, in January, of 2014 is when the criminal charges were
Right.
filed. Now you have two ways of getting a criminal case. One is by way of an indictment, and understand, Rikki, I'm like an attorney now. Prior
bet.
to
Sure.
going through this,
Sure.
I was a layman, but I'm like an attorney now.
Right.
So going forward, you have two ways of getting a criminal complaint. One, which is by way of an indictment, or two,
Which did not happen in this
which
case.
did not happen in my
Right.
case, or two, by way of them just filing a complaint, which is how you get criminal charges.
Right.
And of course, at that point, news media was at my door, the Review Journal, everyone was at my
Right.
door because keep in mind, we
Sure.
had been a national sensation,
Sure.
and I understood, but I wasn't able to talk.
Right.
And that's the thing that people, you're told from your attorney not
Don't
to
say
talk.
anything.
Anything
Sure.
you say
It
can
could
be-
jeopardize your case.
It can. It can
Yeah.
jeopardize your case.
And I think I can talk about this from a personal perspective. I was so impressed with your family. I was so
Thank you.
taken by your story, and it was just so genuine. And the kids are gorgeous, and you and Yvonne are gorgeous, and the community coming out. And I think every time I went over, because I was practically living there, there were like piles of diapers. There were volunteers moving, and it
Yes.
was just such a neat, feel-good story. And then all of a sudden, criminal
Yes.
charges? Where is this coming from?
Absolutely.
And then, being people in the media, we can be this way. Then it was sort of like, well, there must have been something wrong. And it was almost like some of my colleagues were second-guessing themselves. Was like, but we really loved them. How could this be possible? So there was also an emotional component here
Absolutely.
locally to your story.
Absolutely.
Because people were so embedded in this feel-good, positive
Absolutely.
story.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you tend to want to back your community.
Sure.
And so thank God at the time I'm a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so the community received us well. So to have something so disheartening, I remember when you last came out, the story aired. The charges
Right.
were filed
It was after
a couple of days
yeah.
after you had
Right.
left, and my wife and I immediately felt horrible for you because you had became like a family member.
Right.
But we couldn't say anything.
Right.
And I couldn't
Right.
call you and say, "Hey, Rikki, this is
Yeah.
the things that you heard or hearing is not true."
And the problem was, for us in the media, Because we couldn't get, it was one-sided. We could only get what the AG's office was giving
Absolutely.
us. So we couldn't get anything from you. And unfortunately, in this media-obsessed
I understand.
world, and especially social media, if there's only one side of the story being taken,
That's the side you
what
go with.
people, want to believe.
Absolutely.
And so I think in some of my colleagues too, everybody just kind of backed off. We're like, we're going to have to let this thing play out. However, the problem was, because that negative part was out there, we had to just wait because we couldn't get any more information out of the AG's office.
Absolutely.
This is all, we had to wait for to go through the court system.
Correct.
And then when I saw that, okay, this is all coming out, so how do you get them? Because another challenge is, unfortunately, unless you're in the media, you're not as obsessed as we are in the media. We read every website.
Absolutely.
I get up in the morning, the first hour of my day is spent going through all this information.
I'm sure.
The average person doesn't do that. They might be on their Facebook page, but they're not trying to find out whatever happened, whatever.
Right.
So to do the follow-up, a lot of times when people then are cleared of charges or there's been an amicable solution, a resolution to their case, that part of the story is not covered because people
Absolutely.
forget
Yes.
or it's kind of
The
hard.
interest just sort of dissipates.
Right,
Yes.
right.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So that's what, of course, that's disheartening to know that we've overcome,
Sure.
and it doesn't seem to be the same platform, if you
Yes,
will,
exactly.
to have everything rectified, have the story told correctly.
Yeah.
Which is why, of course, I'm here, and I thank you for allowing me to be here.
I'm so glad you're
Is
here.
the opportunity to set the record straight and say it was 5 years with multiple plea deals offered. I said absolutely not. I
Right.
will never ever admit guilt to something that I'm innocent of. I was totally innocent, and I just felt like I was being railroaded in a
Sure.
sense,
Well, and one of the things that, covering court cases for so long is this is very typical. When the prosecution, and not to say anything, but this is just how this business works, they will have a case and they'll have so many charges, and usually they throw everything but the kitchen sink.
Yes.
But they know that there's only maybe 2 or 3 that might actually stick.
Absolutely.
So sometimes people will fold because they're just tired.
Yes.
They want it to go away,
Yes.
and in many cases, after the fact, they'll admit, I went ahead and pled guilty. I didn't
To
have
get
any
on my life.
money to
Yes,
get on. I
correct.
wanted to move on, but the problem with that is then now it's on record. Even if it
Absolutely.
was not true, then it follows you forever.
Absolutely.
So I give you credit for having the being brave enough, the courage to stick in there. Because
Thank you.
5 years is a long time. When I was talking to you the first time, it's like, it's been 5 years. So to get up every single day, I get scared when my library fines are over. Like, oh my God, I owe the library $10. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're talking about possibly going to jail.
Yes.
Now you were fortunate though that you were able to, while this process was playing out, to stay with your family, to have your freedom and to be able to fight from
Thank
outside.
God, yes,
Yeah.
because of course I had a clean, pristine record, and based off of that, I wasn't a threat or
Right.
flight risk. I have ties to the community.
Right.
I'm on various HOA boards and some of with our own homes. Where I own homes, I'm on the various HOA boards. So
And you
I
had all these
ties to
people in the community who were coming forward saying,
Yes.
no, we know these folks.
Absolutely.
And we're not believing, we support them.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that was a great thing. So I was able to get released on my own recognizances, and thank God we had the funds so that I could hire the best attorneys
Yes.
to fight this.
A lot of people don't have
and they
that.
have that absolutely.
Right.
So one of the things that I'm doing now is becoming an advocate for the less fortunate. There
Sure.
are people that either don't have the fight that I had, or they don't have the funds, or both.
Right.
And this is not a black or white issue.
Right,
This is
this
just
is
an issue.
everybody.
Right. Whoever
Right.
is targeted, whoever is targeted, no matter innocence or guilt, that's who they come after, and they come after, just like you said earlier, they throw in everything but the kitchen sink. You know?
And in defense of the prosecution of that side, there is, and I'm a law and order addict. Especially like the first one, when they go boom, boom, I can sit on my couch and go, this is the one where they found the beheaded person. I've seen them so many times, right? But what I love about that show is it really lays out for folks at each level, just like our government system.
Yes.
There are checks and balances. Everybody's doing their job.
Yes.
It's not personal. And I think that's where people kind of get a little bent out of shape. They think, well, if the prosecution's doing this, no, they're doing their job. They're
Yes.
saying, we don't know whether this person is guilty or innocent, but we've got to go through the system. These are the charges that we think that this person
Is
could
guilty
be
of.
possibly guilty of,
Yes.
and it's got to play out. If they can win a case, everybody wants to win.
Yes.
So if they can win a case by saying, look, this is your deal, but each person, each defendant has the ability, if possible, to say, you know what, I'm going to fight this all the way. But like you said, A lot of people don't have the support.
Yes.
And a lot of the people don't have the money.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's very, imagine I had to wear several hats. I had to wear a hat as a husband. I had to wear the hat as a father.
For all these kids.
Correct.
Right, sure.
I still had to wear the hat as a businessman. I had to wear the hat as a community leader.
Right.
Because I'm to serve on many HOA boards. So it was a very tough situation to be in, to wear these various hats, still fight a system that was definitely wrong regarding my case. They definitely didn't do the right thing as far as my case. They didn't interview homeowners that was around the particular house that would have came forward like they did for me and say, hey, I remember this. I was there. This happened. That happened. I know you didn't steal this house.
Right.
They never interviewed them.
Right.
Well, thank God I was able to retrieve those same homeowners.
Because you were out and you were able to talk to people.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. Several of them had contacted me and said, hey, you know, I saw this on the news. I know that family, and that family is corrupt, and I want to help. I mean, which was a blessing.
Sure.
But had the AG gone and initiated, you know, in the initial investigation, had they gone to those various homeowners, they would have found this information out themselves.
Well, the thing that when we were first talking about this, and I always bring this up, there you go, the danger and in defense of the AG's office, we always hear from law enforcement, see something, say something.
Yes.
But it's been my experience as a reporter and an anchor, a lot of people are afraid to get drawn into a court case.
Yes.
And then now they've got to testify.
Absolutely.
And it's not like they don't want to do the right thing, but they're looking at their families too, because
Absolutely.
they're not connected, you know, legally with this case. So then they're like going, well, do I really want to testify? Now my mom,
It's funny you say that.
I ran into a case where I have two massive beasts. They're called Akitas. And I kind of went through a little period when Akira started getting really big. There was a metro officer in my neighborhood who was sort of like stalking us.
Okay.
And so when I said that, first of all, people didn't believe me. I said, no, I'm getting stalked driving while black with a big dog in the back. and they said, well, you should turn him in. I said, now here's what's going to happen. Let's say I turn him in, because I'm not doing anything wrong. Parking
Correct,
legally,
yes.
and my only thing is I've got this big huge
dog in the car
beast in
with
the
you,
car
yes.
with me. And I said, so let's play this out. My last name is Cheese. Lots of cheeses here in the valley. Lots of nephews, and so now everybody, if this person gets mad at me,
Yes.
is going to have to look in their rearview mirror because
And worry
I worry
yes.
about this. I can't afford to tick somebody off.
Correct.
It's going to, and it ended up playing out. But I think that's the thing, that when you hear people say, "Well, I knew about it, but I didn't come forward."
Yes.
You know, they've got lives too.
No, and I understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, and they're scared too. They don't want to get on the wrong side of somebody. They don't know.
They don't know. It was unfortunate for me. I had the exact same situation. One of my key witnesses, he wound up becoming my key witness later. His wife was still alive at the time. His wife wound up passing away shortly after my case broke.
Wow.
And his primary reason for not wanting to come to my defense was out of fear of his wife.
Sure.
Protecting a good husband,
Sure.
protecting his wife. And so he said that he went through so much after losing his wife. He didn't know my case was still going on.
Right.
Well, so 5 years later, I come back and says, hey, I'm here to go to trial. You know, will you
Yeah.
be my witness? He was more than honored
Sure.
to be. He shared his apologies, but he also expressed that he was afraid.
Sure.
And a lot
Yeah.
of people are. So I understand, but all I can say is, there but for the grace of God, go I.
Right,
If-
right.
When the shoe's on your foot, then you'll understand.
And people don't realize too how long it can take. Like, I'm still getting, even to hear you say it was 5 years.
Yes.
Because I have no sense of time, whatever.
Yes.
It just seems like yesterday
Yeah,
I was
one
hanging
day's
out with you,
into another.
right? So when you said, I was like, how did you manage getting up, you and Yvonne, every single day, taking care of the kids, taking care of your life, not knowing how this was going to play out? Because it could have gone the other way.
It could have gone on the way. So he was a triplet. So it was triplet boys, and we lost the oldest of the three, and we believe it was because of the stress that she was going through. You know,
Sure.
worrying about if I go to jail. As a matter of fact, my trial was set on the same day that they were due.
Wow.
So it was a stress of, is my trial really going to go forward? Because
Yeah.
of course we wanted it to. The whole 5 years we wanted to go. I vehemently said, I want to go to trial. I want my day in court to fight against this thing. And so when it looked like we were going to trial that time, my trial was on the same date as their birthday. And so, well, the same date that they
due,
were,
right,
yeah,
due.
that they were due, correct. And so with that being said, so we had the stress of, will I really go to trial? If I'm at trial, what will happen, you know, if she goes into labor while I'm in the middle of trial?
And
Can
you're
you
the
picture
primary
that?
breadwinner.
And I'm the primary
so now
breadwinner.
she's going to be a single mom of Whew,
Right, and we don't
11,
have
right.
we don't have a lot of physical hands-on help,
Sure.
you know. So we have that situation
Sure.
that was in place. So having all of those things, I just believe we believe, even the doctor, that the stress came from, you know, her worrying about that. So that was disheartening.
Sure, yeah.
You know.
Bottom line, you go and it's like, hey, it's all done. So
Absolutely.
now you guys are back on track. You've got lots of really exciting plans in the works.
Yes,
Tell
we're
us
writing a
about
book.
that.
I'm writing a book right now. Hopefully it'll be done and completed by December
Uh-huh.
of this year. We do have reality shows that
Uh-huh.
are back at the
Sure.
door, knocking at the door.
And
My
in a
wife
way,
has-
I hate to say this, but I can say this as a member of the media. You will all, like, even in my family, like, you fake. My mother was so great about that. She's like, you people in the media. And I said, Mommy, I'm your daughter. She's like, no. There was like a line that would be crossed. You know, it was
Right.
like, you people in the media. Oh, yeah, you're my kid. Everybody loves a comeback story. Everybody loves the fact that you've been
Yes.
exonerated, that, you know, this is all done. So do you think you're going to even get more attention, that you've been through something that most people, it's so horrific,
Yes.
could never even imagine?
Yes, absolutely, Ricky. It has started already.
Sure.
I mean, it has really started already. So, of course, we're trying to, you know, take it easy,
Sure.
take it slow, and more than that, I definitely became an advocate for the innocent.
Sure.
So, in this journey,
Sure.
that's the thing that I think God has focused my attention on.
There was a purpose for what happened
was,
for you.
yes.
As painful as it is.
Yes.
Sometimes that's what propels people, because really until something happens to us personally,
yes.
that's when you go, oh my gosh.
God, yes.
So how many other people are suffering through, and to come out on the you know,
On the
end,
top.
on top
Yes.
of it and say, this is what worked for me, this is how I got through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I am advocating now for those individuals that can't speak for themselves. I wasn't able to talk.
Sure.
I wasn't able to say anything.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that I hope to get out. It could be you. It could, I mean, I was
Any of
42
us.
when I got these charges.
Right.
Well, 43. I was 43
Okay.
when I got these charges. I've never had I don't have a speeding ticket. I don't have a parking ticket.
Right.
So it could be anyone once you're targeted. And then you I wish I became an advocate. I wish I helped to try to fight or change our judicial system.
Or even to be able to talk to somebody about what you're going through, because I think that's the big thing is, if something like this happens to you, there's not like a directory per se of like, where can you talk to someone who's been through a similar experience.
Absolutely.
And so having that national spotlight and a local spotlight, people can go, oh my gosh, Dion went through this.
Yes.
They can contact you. Like when you contacted me, it's like, oh Dion, you got to get on everybody's show. You got to come on my show. You got to tell everybody
Thank you,
what you
Rikki.
went through. And then tell people that there is life after this struggle if
Yes.
you're going through it, and there are some options that are available to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I hope to, that's the message that I hope to get out, not only through situations and platforms
Right,
such as this,
right.
but also through my book.
Yes.
I hope to outline that in my book.
That's going to be so exciting.
Yes.
So now, and our own reality TV stars, our latest ones. How close are you with that?
Very
They're
close.
still talking?
Very,
Yeah.
very close. Very, very close.
Uh-huh.
I promise you'll be one of the very first to know.
Please,
That's
please.
the promise.
Yeah, I just, everybody loves a success story. All your beautiful children.
Thank you,
this
Rikki.
Beautiful baby here. Look at him.
He's so active.
He's ready. So is this his first TV appearance?
This is his first television appearance.
He started right here at WWDB TV on Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. So, darling, when you become a big star, will you come back?
Say, yes, I will, Rikki. I would love to be on your show.
I love it. My first TV appearance, and people ask me how I got into the media. We didn't realize it at the time. There was a local kids show here in Las Vegas, and so my mom took me there, and I thought it was a mirror, and so I'm looking at the mirror. And whatever. It was the monitor. And so the camera was a close-up, so I was 4. And so that was my first TV appearance, and my mom said, well, we knew. It's like, you did not know.
And that was the
Ma.
start to this.
There you
That
go.
was the start to
So
this.
now we got little Dior. He's already been on. He's not even a year old. How old is he?
He's a year.
He's a year
Yeah,
old.
year just passed
So
May.
when he was a year old, you'll be able to look back and say, this is how it all got started.
Absolutely.
If he
This
turns
is
out
when
to
it
be
got
a
started.
big anchor man or something like that, that's great. Dan, I'm so happy for you. People want to reach out to you and help you guys out. How do they do that?
They can they can reach out to me on Instagram, which is my name, DeonDerrico. We're on Facebook
Right.
under Derrico.
Double, same name twice.
Yes, same
right?
name twice, correct. And also I have a blog, DeonDerrico.blog. .com or .com.blog.
Right.
Yes, but definitely they reach out to me on my Instagram. I definitely want to be accessible to people in helping them in their journeys. I have a group of great attorneys. I would love to, refer them if you're going through some issues, and possibly, talk to them through their issues.
Sure.
Yes.
Find out what your options are before you just go ahead and settle, because it's scary. Like I said,
is.
I get scared with my library fine. So, I mean, what you went through and to be able to come out on the other side is just so remarkable and such a testament for what we all in the media saw when we first met you. That was not a fake. That was not something. This was the real deal of the Dorico family.
Absolutely.
And now we can say, yeah, our instincts, our gut instincts were true.
We're right. Thank you so much, Rikki, for the support, for the understanding. And I understood your position. I understand the media.
Sure.
I mean, I understand from the media's perspective. You can only report on what's given to you.
Right.
So I'm thankful that I'm able to deliver my story now and allow you guys to do your job.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Right. Of course, we're going to post this, and it'll be on our website. We'll have all of those links, and I'll be following up to kind of put that on my Facebook page. And so, and if you have stories that you'd like to share, if something has happened to you, because a lot of times, if it hadn't been for you guys having that first initial spotlight, let's say that you only had like maybe just 3 kids. It might not have gotten the attention. Nobody would have even followed it, or even, unfortunately, even cared, because there is so much stuff happening in the world. Stories like yours, if you hadn't had so much positive attention, they get lost in the shuffle.
It does, and it does, and that's the disheartening part. Is I know it only happened based on our notoriety.
Sure,
it only happened based on that. That's why the case had gone away. So a lot of this I'll be talking about in detail in my book. But right now, yes.
Right now, it's just happy times,
it's
good
happy
times. Let's move on.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
We've overcome.
Hopefully, I'll be one of the first people to tell you guys about the reality show once the contracts are signed. Like my mother said, no bird in the hand. Wait till that paperwork is signed. Then you talk about it.
Wait till that ink dry, baby.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. And how old are your kids now? Give us really quickly.
So we have Darian, my oldest. She'll be 13 in December. Derek just turned 8 in July. Dallas and Denver will be 7 in October.
Oh my gosh.
The quintuplets just turned 5. It's the 6th of September. And then these little babies just turned a year. Yeah.
My eyes roll in the back of my head.
I'm thinking to myself, am I keeping this in order? Am I here?
And I can imagine the next time I come out to your house, because that was the thing that so impressed me, coming to your home that first time going, there's not a piece, there's not a toy anywhere. The kids are all quiet, well fed, bathed, and
we're OCD.
Oh my God, it was fabulous, and they were like such great TV. It's like, this is a family that's doing everything right.
Thank you.
We talk about, especially African American families, clearly well-behaved, well-raised children, and I congratulate you and Yvonne for doing such a great job with your kids.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
Rikki. That means everything to us.
It's fantastic. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you,
Yes,
baby. Thank you so much.
You guys stick around. We got some information for other families about protecting your kids and protecting yourself against cyber crooks. Cybersecurity expert Mac Jackson Jr. is coming up, so stick around.
Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Today's tip's about tire maintenance, how to check a tire, how to fill it properly. Okay, so as we can see, we've got a low tire. We probably saw that a month ago and said we'll fill it, but like everything, we let a day go by. Next thing you know, we got a problem. Properly check a tire, remove the valve cover, got a tire gauge, simply put it on there, and it'll read the pressure down at the bottom in PSI, pounds per square inch. We can see here that this is so low, it's barely reading. There's probably 10 pounds in it at best. So how do we properly inflate it? Well, we're going to need an air chuck. Go down to the local store or come by the shop. We'll use this tool to inflate it. And that sounds like that's all we need to do. But we need to know how much to inflate it to, because overinflated is just as bad as underinflated. We can look at the tire, and on here we're going to find a cold pressure rating rated in PSI. And it's going to say anywhere from 32 to 80 pounds depending on the vehicle. We'll want to find that so we know the maximum inflation cold. We're going to look until we find the load rating. And here we find the maximum PSI is 44 PSI, pounds per square inch cold. We don't want to fill it any more than that, but we don't want to underfill it either. We want to fill it to 44. So it seems like checking the air pressure is no big deal. It's not. It's really simple to do, but we want to make sure we got the correct pressure. How do we find that? Let me show you. We open the door and we locate the sticker. It's usually right here. It could be down on the lower rocker, but it's on the driver's side. And after we look around, we'll see right here it says 35 psi. That's the pressure that the tire requires that was sold with the vehicle. But if you change the tires later to a high-performance tire, mud and snow, or anything else, look at the cold pressure on the side of the tire to make sure you're properly inflated. This could be 35 today, but we get a performance tire, it's 44, 45, or even higher. We'll want to make sure we're inflating the tire properly. A couple of things you're going to need if you're checking your own tires: tire gauge and a rag, because you are going to get a little dirty. If you don't want to do that, I don't blame you. Bring it to the shop, we'll check it for you. We'll do a whole inspection on the vehicle if you like. We'll check the tires, make sure you're safe. This can save you a lot of time and keep you safe. Crazy Terry here with your car care tip of the day. Thanks a lot.
Well, joining me now is Matt Jackson Jr., who's got some information for Dion DeRico, who just left, saying, how can I protect my kids from cybercrime? And these are the tips. When I had him on just a short time ago, what knocked my socks off, I'm not really tech savvy. So I thought I was doing some really basic things. Just by a couple of very simple questions, he figured out my Social Security number. Just like he said, and I can tell you this, I'm sitting there going, whoa, with just by two questions, you figure that out.
That's right.
I think a lot of times when they, especially like when they're asking for your password,
Right.
It's like, oh, so you think this is protecting it. Not. Yeah, and especially if you're using the same password, one of the tips you shared before, and he's not only a security expert, he's an author too, so you can find a lot of information, and he teaches courses as well. He can come to talk to your group or your church, whatever, and this is something that everybody needs to share. You were talking about how not just use a password, use a passphrase. And I never thought about that, because I thought, well, that's not something that you see. I thought, yeah, because a password, I'm lazy. I've used the same password on a lot of different things.
Sure.
And so unless a site forces me to change it and says you've used it before, because I forget the passwords, but I thought,
Right.
well, a passphrase, I won't forget. And that's going to be harder for somebody to track.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Its passphrase would be harder for people to track.
But they can still do it.
They can still track it, correct. But you should have a passphrase that's something that you would remember,
Right.
and your family remember, and
Right.
it's hard for hackers to hack into.
Right.
You should have upper, lowercase, it should be numeric, you should have a
The
special
little
character.
symbol, right, yeah. What are the big things that you're still running into out there that you think that are so basic people should know, like something like this, but they don't?
It's in the passwords, and Google has taken one step to change that. The new browser that's out, there's been some updates to Chrome. It will allow you to have access to their password management system. What this means is you can have a different password for every website that you visit, and everyone should. You should
Right.
not have the same password. Your banking, your schooling, your IRS, all that information, never the
Guilty.
same.
Guilty.
Yes, all should be different.
Sure.
But what a password management system does, it will encrypt your password, your user ID, within your browser. So every website you visit, you will be able to access that website without having to remember it.
Really?
Yes,
That is
that's-
fantastic, because
that's a
that's
good
how I get, my thing was with Apple. Oh, how many times have I changed my Apple password? And so
Yes.
then I write it down, but the problem with that is I'll either write it in my phone so I can find it, or I write it at home.
Yes.
So now if I lose my phone, it's in my, it's on my notes or something
That's
like
right.
that. And so then I wondered how many people are like me. They think that, okay, so I'm chronicling all the different passwords that I have. Like I've got one colleague, she has them all on sticky notes by her computer.
Ah.
And I said, well, darling, if somebody breaks into your house, it's all right there.
Yes.
Or, it's easily accessible.
And you should tell her that when she create those sticky notes, you basically create a currency. So those are, think of them as $10, $20 bills.
Wow.
Each of those sticky notes that are on a fridge. Someone gets a copy of that, they can sell it in the underground.
Yeah, yeah. And you think about something as simple as, I've had some contractors come in, that type of thing, or dog
Sure.
sitters. Unless you're standing right behind the person who's in your house, like what the cable guy came
Right.
and had to figure out what was going on with my delivery service, and then he had an assistant. So in my heart, I want to think that they weren't looking around at something that was extra, but you don't know that.
That's right. You don't know. That's right. If they're walking in your house and they have their smartphone out, not saying they would,
Right.
but anyone,
But this is a
it could
possibility.
be at work, your workspace as well.
Right.
All they need to do is take a quick picture of
Screenshot,
anything on
yes.
your desk, refrigerator, the sticky notes, and they've created currency. to be resold.
Right.
Passwords are the simplest or the easiest way, well, let's say it this way. Passwords are the most vulnerable way that hackers can steal your information.
Right.
Because we being society, we don't keep track of our passwords the correct way.
Right.
But now people are starting to learn about that.
Sure.
You know, like you're saying, using passphrases, using password management systems. That's one of the best ways to do it.
The scandal that Facebook ran into with Cambridge Analytics, do you think it's made people, are people even recognizing that? The people that you're going to talk to right now, is it just going over their heads like they think it can't happen to them?
It's going over their heads. Cambridge Analytics is one. There's also Exacta, which you probably haven't heard of. Exacta it came out last month that literally everybody in the U.S., their information was compromised.
Wow.
That's everybody. In other words,
But
that
it's so
advertising data is there.
overwhelming. And I get that they're selling my information, and I was sharing with you before the show, I have resisted because I live at 7-Eleven. And I've resisted getting their app because I know how I am. But then a couple of weeks ago, they had this promotion that you could get the super duper drumstick, the ice cream drumstick, it was $2.99, but if you got the app that day, it was free. So then I thought, well, I want free ice cream, so I'll sign up for it. And then as soon as I did it, I thought, was it really worth it? But then I did lie. I'll admit this. I am not a 20-year-old college student living at home. But I wanted that drumstick, and so that's what I said to get the app. But some websites or some applications, they already have that, and they would have kicked it back going, Rikki, you are not a 20-year-old student. You haven't been 20 years old in a blink, and said we're not going to accept that because they have the real information there.
Right.
And that was what got me when I realized that once your real information is in the system, then it's open to everybody. You can't even go in some cases and lie about it.
Right. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. That's what I explain to my clients. Your personal identifiable information, and hackers are trying to put together this jigsaw puzzle with bits and pieces that they can steal or compromise from databases around the world. And they put together a profile of you. It could be exactly like you or close to you as possible. That would be enough to allow financial institutions or schools getting loans or anyone to think that it's you, and they'd sell the information to a bad underground person in the dark net, and they can commit crimes. Right.
And even somebody that, within your social circle, I was also sharing that on my Facebook page, somebody put on my timeline a young man who's going through some medical issues. And I'm reading the story, and my heart just goes out, and I just reply, prayers to you, that type of thing. Well, short time later, my phone starts blowing up. Ping, 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 and all these people are in Facebook Messenger and responding and fighting amongst themselves. I'm like, who are you people? Because I'm thinking that the only people who'd be on Facebook Messenger are the people I've connected to. It took me a while to figure out, and trust me, I start crying. I'm one of those people who's easily defeated. I now know, go ahead and cry, and then go back to find out what's going on. So I had my cry, like, I can't believe I'm going to have to delete this thing. I was like, whatever. It was something this simple. He added me to his group. And so everybody who was in his, but the other part of that was, wait a minute, now all my people are exposed. And I found out, some people were getting all these, wondering, what the heck is this? Not knowing that it was because I didn't do anything. He added me to his group, and I was just trying to be a nice person, saying, I'm sorry about what you're going through. And then I thought, well, I don't want to become one of those people who doesn't express my compassion and my empathy, but if it's going to expose my family and friends, my real family and friends, to somebody in his group, wow, I didn't even know that could happen.
True. Facebook has added that feature, but they've also added that you can be disconnect or unjoin a group, which is nice. You're right. It has an advantage. Let's say there was a wedding party going, and then you wanted to have everybody in the group, let them know what's going on. That's a good thing. You're right. But you have the other where people are trying to scam you or even advertise to you, get you involved in things you're not even care about. Just like email, the same way, right? Someone gets your email address and they'll put you in an email spam with other people, thinking, I have no idea why they BCC'd me in this blind carbon copy here of email.
Yeah, but this is part of the world we live in. So the best thing that everybody can do, find out the simple things. If somebody wants to hack you, they are going to get you. That's just all there is to it. And as a reporter, I can find out just by even using simple information available through the city of Las Vegas's website or the county's website. You can find out so much about people. So let's get past that. But just like something as simple as a passwords, a passphrase, and take the time to sit down with folks like you, because everybody's condition or situation is different. Like Dion DeRico's, he's got all these kids, and so when he takes a picture, that picture, something that's so different now about social media, I've got some friends who will not take their kids' pictures because they want their children, when they become old enough to become involved, to make the choice. They don't want these pictures. Then you have the other side, and in my family, those pictures have been taken since they were in the delivery room practically, and they're there. So it's a matter of sitting down and taking a look at, what do you want your digital footprint to look like? How exposed do you want to be? And is it worth a $3 piece of ice cream?
True.
Was it worth it for me to do that? Now 7-Eleven's going to be sending these things forever. It's like, really?
But if you're in the public, if the kids are in the public, people are going to take photos and then use those photos just like if the parents would have taken it. So that's a bad thing too. But I do have one for you.
Please.
There have been different websites that have been hacked throughout the years, right? How would you know if your email address was involved in that?
That's a really good question. How would I know?
Well, there is a website that I could recommend you check out.
Please.
It's called Have I Been Pwned? PWNED.
PWN. Okay.
PWNED. Have I Been PWNED.
Okay.
.com.
Okay.
And what you have is you enter your email address, and it will scan all the databases that have been hacked throughout the years and let you know if your email address has been involved in that database.
Wow.
And if it has been, recommendation is just change your password, make sure you change it. And I would suggest changing it and then waiting 30 days and changing it again. Because now you've changed it twice. And use a 2-tier authentication as well.
Now tell us about this, because, okay, I'm skeptical of everything, but I'm thinking this is just another way for them to get me. Okay, Alex Jones, folks, I'm paranoid too. It's like sometimes this stuff is real.
Yeah, 2-tier authentication would mean that you would go to your website and you enter your user ID and your password, but then on the other side, the system sends you a message that says, we will send you a code, and that code will show up on your phone. And it'll say, please enter this code. And when you enter the code that shows up on your phone, they're authenticating that it's you. It's the same thing that hospitals use now. If you go visit UMC or Quick Care, as soon as you've already signed in, but as soon as you enter the doctor's room, they'll say, what's your birth date? To verify it. So another way of authenticating it. So this is the same way.
And which really sucks, because, the women in the Cheese family, we've been lying about our age since we were like 2 years old. And it sucks when you get caught. And they're like, baby, like I said, you have not been 20 in a while, Rikki. So, come clean with that. But that is also your protection.
Sure. Yeah. 2-tier authentication. Now, I've heard 2 people are complaining about it as well, thinking, oh, great, Mac. It's another way to slowing down productivity, because before, remember, we just used the user ID and a password. Now you use user ID, password, and you have to wait for authorization to get through. So what if there's 3-tier authentication? What if there's retina of the eyes? What if there's your thumbprint? Possibly, maybe in the future, but right now the safe way is giving you the actual air protection.
Let's talk a little bit about the future. How do you feel about this, using the thumbprints or using the eyes? I mean, we see this in the Hollywood movies, but then we also see how people, I was just watching National Treasure, one of my favorite stories, how Nicolas Cage's character hands the glass, and then he gets her thumbprint, and that's how he gets down to the Declaration of Independence. So there's ways of getting around it, even if your thumbprint, you putting your thumb all over the place, somebody can come behind you.
But I'm understanding from my friends from the FBI is that your thumbprints do wear out as the older you get. And there's also a hack from OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, federal government. Some of the agents, their fingerprints were stolen.
Wow.
So and now hackers are creating gloves with these fake fingerprints on it. So now anyone can get into the layer of the Constitution that you're saying from the movie, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so fingerprints, it's old technology. As millennials would say, that's 5 minutes ago. They're a new way. We're meaning in the industry are looking at ways to have our privacy protected without using methods that are so outdated, like Social Security number, it's outdated. Fingerprints, outdated too. Retina of the eyes. What if you're handicapped? You don't have fingers or eyes. Can you still participate in commerce in our society? So we need to have another way. There's talk of using DNA, biometrics, and that's kind of scary too. The things that you realize. So there's a new technology being investigated now called the blockchain, and that's something in the weeks ahead in the future.
The blockchain.
You and I will talk about that too. It's the same technology that works with Bitcoin, that protects Bitcoin in the technology, cryptocurrency. The idea is that using that same technique we'll be able to use in cyber as well for our personal privacy as well using blockchain.
I've gone from being so terrified of where we're going and to just accept that our society, when it comes to technology, it's moving so fast. I mean, you folks who are in the industry, the cybersecurity industry, man, you're just trying to keep up, you know, because the hackers are smart.
That's
and they're
right.
coming up with a new way. So now you have to come up with a new way to protect your clients and yourself from the hackers.
That's right. Yeah, it's like plugging up a dam, looking for cracks or leaks in it. You know, the vulnerabilities. Hackers like water, trying to find a way.
So folks, if they want to contact you, they want you to come out to, and I really encourage, you know, if you have a church group or a school group, have Matt come out and really talk, because I think when people hear the term cybersecurity, they tend to think of the Pentagon or big things. No, I want to really focus, and thank you for being on my show, to talk about the mundane stuff that people need to do that can protect them tremendously. Yeah.
Absolutely. Get a hold of me. It's real simple. Go to my website at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Or our company website, mjcc.com as well.
Right.
We have online training courses now as well on cybersecurity awareness.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes.
So, thank you for coming on. I learn something new
Absolutely.
every single time,
Anytime,
right?
Rikki.
And always think twice. That $2.99 drumstick may not be worth it. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about Marcia Bergenfeld. She's got a new trunk show coming up, and her stuff is going bling bling nationwide. So stick around.
Is life so hectic that you just don't have time to get all those projects around the house completed? Well, worry no more. Tinker's Handyman Service is here and ready to help you. Tinker's is a company you can depend on to be honest and reliable. What sets us apart from other companies? It's simple. We care. Our reliable staff will help you with drywall repair, painting, popcorn ceiling removal, laminate and engineered wood flooring, also accent walls, crown molding, baseboard installs, cabinet and door repair, minor electrical and plumbing repairs, and more. Visit Yelp to see rave reviews from our satisfied customers. Call or text us today at 702-445-4812 for a fair and honest free estimate. Let Tinker's Handyman Service give you the free time you deserve. That number again is 702-445-4812. We're waiting for your call.
And welcome back to Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese. Okay, we've covered quite a bit on this show. We have the DeRico family, Dion DeRico, and their brood of beautiful children who are going to be going nationwide, their own reality show. He's got such a great story of having these quintuplets and other kids, raising them, going through some legal troubles and coming out victorious on the other side. Then we also talked to Matt Jackson Jr. He's a cybersecurity expert, giving some just common sense tips to protect yourself. But we also want to give a shout out to a woman who's going to be on my next show. She's been on before, Marcia Bergenfeld of M-Some Designs. Now, this is an artist of incredible proportions. She takes gems and works with their energy and has created just masterpieces of wearable art. Now, here's the cool thing about Marcia. Her stuff now is blowing up nationwide. There is two very well-known national celebrities who are now wearing her art. And so what you're going to find out about that on that show is how this is happening for her. Local girl just doing really great things. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for the show, she's got a trunk show coming up at the Pottery Barn at the District in Green Valley Ranch. That's September 15th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So go out there and see her, meet her. Her energy is amazing, but the work that she does, I've got my bracelet, my tiger eye bracelet, and she works with the energy of the gems from the earth. Many, many exotic jewels that just knock your socks off. And she has jewelry for men and women, so that's something to keep in mind. Again, Pottery Barn Trunk Show, District at Green Valley Ranch, September 15th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and she'll be on next week. So join us for that edition of Live Las Vegas with Rikki Cheese.